beautiful people, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Miss Linda, a special needs educator, child neuropsychology and a speech and language pathology. Today we are spoiled. We have a guest on studio today. Welcome.
Thank you, Linda. My name is Occupational. I'm an occupational therapist and I love working with children, and I'm happy to be here today with Miss Linda.
Okay, thank you for coming. So today, this is what I want us to do today. I want you to grab your pen. I want you to grab your book, because today we are going to learn and learn and learn. And you can ask your questions as much as you can. So you listen so that you're able to know the questions that you need to ask. All right, so today we are going to discuss about sensory processing disorders. This is most of the areas that people have issues, like it is not, it is an area that we have too much to talk about, and an area that people have too much questions to ask, and one area that is not well understood by most parents and most professionals. So today we are having Perpetual to explain to us more on sensory processing. So perhaps I want us, just so that those who are at home can know where we are coming from, to tell us what is sensory processing disorders. When you talk of sensory processing disorder, what is it?
Okay, so I'll start with the sensory processing. So once we understand sensory processing, we'll be able to identify what is the disorder or what the challenge. So I like simplifying the knowledge so that anyone hearing can be able to really pinpoint and say, oh, now I get it, now I understand. So with the sensory processing, it is how our body perceives our senses. So we have several senses. We have the sight, the hearing, the touch, we have the balance, we have how our body perceives our movement. So those are some of the senses that we have. So when we come to sensory processing, it is there's a system, because you can imagine if it's a machine. You take something, the input, you take the material, put it inside, there's a bit of processing, and then it goes out. So what happens with sensory processing, it is we take the stimuli from outside our body. That is, if we were listening, if the way you are listening to me, I have taken it outside my body. I take it inside my brain, I process it, then I give an output. So for example, Miss Linda asks me, where is your book? I have processed, I've taken it from where she has her voice, auditory voice, she has spoken, I've taken it in, processed it, and then now my output is my answer. Where is your book? And I say, here is my book. So that is what sensory processing is. So every other sense processes like that. So if it's visually, I look at a bright light and my eyes process, this light is this amount. Do I need to take my sunglasses? My output would be to put the sunglasses. So when you have sensory processing, it processes all those different senses. So it can be senses externally or senses within, because there are those things that our body perceive from within. Like for example, how do you know your knee is moving to a certain direction to that step and reaches that step? So there are things that are processed inside, and there are those that we process from outside, but they all go to the brain, and then we give an output. So if I see a step, I will be able to process inside which height I need to lift my knee, and then I lift it, and then my output it is to step. So that's how sensory processing is. So now when it comes to the sensory processing disorder, it is when you have a challenge of any of those steps. It is how, especially the processing bit, you have taken the sense. So it is not the problem of taking the sense from outside, it is the problem of how the brain is processing. So once the brain starts processing, the output is not the expected output. Like for example, Miss Linda tells me, in her normal voice, please get that pencil. And then for me, I immediately close my ears. It is because how I've perceived that sound, it is not the same as she has produced it. I perceived it as a lot. So that's why you find some children now closing their ears in environments where you are like, this is normal noise. It is how they process. So there are those who are, they like the loud noises. Let's say, for example, if we now narrow in the auditory, and there are those who even the normal voice we speak is too loud for them. Okay. Yeah.
So for sensory, what I understand is that you just already defined sensory. So what I understand that for it to be a difficult or to be a disorder, there should be a miscommunication.
Yes, a problem with the processing. So you find that what was sent in, the way it was processed and it's supposed to get out, it didn't happen like that. There was now a challenge in the processing.
And now that's where we have now the sensory processing difficulties.
Yes.
Oh, now can you take us through the senses that you might have?
So we have first we do the visual, the one we see visually. There are things we see visually.
Visually, that's
so
one
there's
sense.
one sense. And then we have the auditory. What do we hear? How do we process it? And how do we give feedback? And then we have the tactile, how we feel, how we touch our skin. How does it feel? That includes even our clothes. How does our skin feel our clothes and things like that? So we have tactile. And then we have vestibular, things that deal with balance. How are we balancing? And how are we seeking movements when our feet are off the ground? So that's vestibular. And then you have proprioceptive, how our bones and our joint perceiving movement, especially our joints. How are they perceiving the movement? Do they want that heavy, you know, there are those children who just like jumping. It is because their bodies seek, their bones seek that input, you know. So that's the proprioceptive.
Even those who like jumping from ground up,
yes,
or roaring.
Yes. So rolling, you'll find now maybe they're seeking for the vestibular. So those are the senses that we have. Yeah.
Then it's like this topic is quite broad. We need to do another and another so that you can be able to like go through all those senses, because now we are at sense the fourth sense, right?
The fifth one.
The fifth one. As we proceed now, the sixth sense.
So we've done the auditory, we've done the visual, we've done the vestibular, we've done the proprioception, we've done the tactile. Now we have the olfactory. How do we smell? You know, there's that sense of smell. But now in sensory way or sensory processing, it might be termed as olfactory. How are we perceiving our sense of smell? You find there are those who like smelling, like they are seeking to smell. You know, there are children, if you've ever met, they really want to smell.
Actually, there's one student I used to work with, and every time I would come to class every morning, they remove my shoes and that's smell all this shoes. Then they allow me to get into a class. So that's now what we mean by olfactory.
Yes. And then we have gustatory, where it is all about the gut. What are we processing in our gut? Am I able to eat
and
a
what
certain...
is gut for someone?
No, how the food just slides down, if I can say the pathway, when it goes all the way down, starting from the mouth, how are we tasting, then going all the way down
to the stomach.
To the stomach. So you find that there are children who find it easy to eat some certain kinds of food, and then there are those who find it hard to eat a certain kind of food. And it's not that they don't like your cooking, it's just that they don't like the texture and the taste of their food.
Then parents need to know that.
Yes.
If you're a parent and you have a special needs child, kind of you have to listen to this video, and don't keep on track on the videos that you'll do, because I think this is just meant for you. Because there's sometimes parents are like, my child will never chew a carrot, or doesn't like bananas, or doesn't like things that are smooth in their mouth. Oh, okay.
Yes. So those are the senses, if we say sensory processing, and break them down like that, those are the senses.
So those are senses. So any challenge with those senses, how they communicate. Now it brings us to what is
sensory processing disorder.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Now now viewers, parents, teachers, everyone who is watching this video, I hope now at least you have a basic information, you know, the start point of what are the senses and what do we mean when we talk of sensory processing difficulties from an occupational therapist. You know, it is not now from a teacher, it's from an occupational therapist what this it is. And in the next video, now look at every challenge of all those senses. You know, I know most of you always thought that we have 5 senses. Now you have one, now we have like how many senses? We have 7 senses. We have always thought we have 5 senses, but we have 7 senses. And now for the next video, we'll look at how those senses, the challenges that comes when those senses are not communicating the information appropriate. For this video, we're just introducing you, giving you basics so that you can be able to flow with the concept of where we are coming from. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us on this video today. Please make sure you share with everybody you know. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you can be able to know, to have more knowledge and see more videos, and also link the bell so that every time we have a new video you know. And also make sure you tell all the parents you know, like tell a friend to tell a friend, and then that friend tell another enemy, then that enemy tell another friend, and let the whole world know, and let the children who have special needs get the help that they need. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks Paps for coming on the board. I completely appreciate, and I know parents also appreciate.
Most welcome.
Thank you. See you on the next video on sensory processing difficulties, the challenges. Bye bye.